And welcome again to the Scarfey Spurs Talk Podcast. I'm your host for this evening, Gary Ward. Obviously, I'm not Harry. Harry is sunning it up on holiday, as we're all very, very jealous of him. But Harry assures us he will be back with us early next week. So, Harry, I know you'll be listening. We all wish you a great, relaxing holiday. But today we've got three great guests with me. We're going to talk about all things Tottenham. Especially the excellent first game of the season against Burnley, and some transfer news, as well as signings, new contracts, and rumours. So we're going to just have a quick go around everyone to have a little chat. Aaron, thanks for joining us today. Tell us a little about yourself, how long you've been a Spurs fan,
Yeah,
etc.
so been a Spurs fan all my life. Really happy to be on this show again. Done it a few times now. Happy to start being a bit of a regular and talk Tottenham today.
Perfect. Thank you for joining us, Dylan. Great to have you back again. Me and you are regulars on here now. 2 episodes in a row together.
Yeah,
How are you? How did you find the game at the weekend?
yeah, good. I'm excellent, thank you. It's good to be back on here again. It was an absolute joy to watch. It was everything I was hoping it to be, pretty much. My prediction came right. I said we'd score at least 3 goals, and we did. But yeah, happy to be back here. Looking forward to it.
You did indeed. I think I said 2. So
Yeah.
but then I changed it when I got to the game. So yeah, I still won as well. And James, you're back with us. We've been on a podcast together as well. How did you find this weekend's game?
Yeah, really good. Sat in the south stand with my brother. I think I was a little bit pessimistic. I said I think we might go like 1-0 down, and then end up winning like 3-1. So I got the 3 goals right, and glad we kept a clean sheet.
Oh, absolutely. I thought it was a great game. I was seeing the South Stand going absolutely crazy at large parts of the game. It was fantastic to see. I was just behind the dugout, as I try to normally sit around there. I like to sit sort of so I can see all of the pitch. It's kind of always been something I've enjoyed doing. But yeah, we'll get cracking into the review. So obviously Tottenham won 3-0. First game of the season under Thomas Frank. Just do a bit of housekeeping on that game. Richarlison with 2 goals, one in the 10th minute, one in the 66th. 60th. If you haven't seen that goal, are you even a Tottenham fan? And if you haven't still seen that goal, please go and seek it out. That's probably going to be the goal of the season, and it was only the first week. Just a few minutes after that, some great play by Richarlison in the middle, actually, and then Johnson, as he normally does, scores. Just some top stats as per FootMob. Ball possession, 67% to Tottenham, 33% to Burnley. Total shots by Spurs, 16 to Burnley's 14. Shots on targets, Tottenham 6 to Burnley's 4. Big chances was 2-0. Accurate passing, which I thought our passing on Saturday was very good. 451, which is an 88% pass completion rate, which I thought was very, very good. Opposed to just 181 from Burnley. So there's a massive difference there in ball retention and essentially moving the ball. Corners 6-5 in Tottenham's favour. Offsides was none for Tottenham, which was quite surprising, and it was 4 for Burnley. I felt like our backline would have at least got a couple, but that quite surprised me. Aaron, watching the game back, did our defensive structure surprise you that we got no offsides during that game at all?
Yeah, because obviously when you're working as that unit, if you're expecting to at least get a few, if you're all as together and if you're trying to play that. I know we're not as high of the line as we were as last year, but you're still going to expect to catch them a few off. So that does surprise me. Yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely surprised me when I looked out. I do like to look a bit of some stats, but yeah, I thought that stats wise we looked good. Obviously, a lot of people went in. It's perhaps it's just Burnley, but initial thoughts going into the game, James, for you, did you think it was going to be as comprehensive as it perhaps was in the end, or do you think we were lucky in stages because they did mount a fight back really in the first half?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a big gap there between Richarlison's 2 goals. But I think we were always pretty comfortable in control. I mean, they did show a few signs, but I just think they're lacking that quality in the final third. We say it's only Burnley, but then last season we've lost to Ipswich and Leicester at home. So you can already see the improvement there, and players seem to know their roles better. It just looked more organised. We look more confident, and to see Richarlison finally sort of showing a bit of form. I know he had a little run. Was it last season? I can't remember now. He sort of scored a few games in a row, but he's looking a lot sharper. And if he can stay, away from injury, then there's no reason he can't keep Solanke outside.
No, absolutely. I do agree. I thought on Wednesday he played very well against Paris Saint-Germain, and I was hoping that was sort of a resurgence, really, or the start of one. I didn't expect him to go into the game as good as he ended up playing.
Yeah. I mean, the first goal he's taken superbly, hasn't he? First time, and already linking up well with Kudus, and the second goal is just special, isn't it? I mean, it's similar to his one he got for Brazil, and to be behind that goal and see that's just that's why we love going to watch Spurs when we're playing well, or why you love watching football in general. It's just it was just magic.
Oh, absolutely. That south stand erupted. I was just to the left of it, I guess, and it erupted. I certainly flew out my seat as well. I couldn't believe that. Dillion, you were in the north stand?
Yes, I was. Yeah.
How did that look from there? Because I think we've got 3 different angles of it. I'm on the left. James is behind the goal. You're on the north. Aaron, was you at the game?
No, I've got the telly angle. Don't worry.
So you got the telly angle. So we've got
angles
4 angles of that incredible finish. Dylan, what did it look like from you?
Yeah, from my perspective, just seeing sort of Kudus get around the defender and then the ball flying in. Just then seeing Richarlison make the contact, him in the air, just see it sort of curl into the left and watch the net rumble around. It was just, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was like that 2022 World Cup all over again. I think that's what Richarlison's noticed. It's World Cup year, so he's going to start performing.
Yeah.
But it was a joy to watch.
Let's try and pretend to him that it's World Cup year every year, and then we might, get this Richarlison all the time. And I know we laugh and joke, but I give him enough pelters as it is, and I criticise a lot for him. But you have to give credit where credit's due, and I thought that Phil, these last 2 games, he's been fantastic. Aaron, watching Wednesday and then watching Saturday, I'm assuming you watched both on the TV, and some reason we've stopped recording. Says stopped. I don't know. Hang on. If we aren't stopped, I apologise, but it's flashed up on my screen telling me we are not recording because we do not have a long enough account.
We're still live, I know that for sure.
It's showing we are.
I've got live on mine, so.
Okay. Technical difficulties because we're using a brand new.
Yeah, we're still live. I think it was just recording.
Is it live? Are we still live on YouTube? Does anyone see us on YouTube? I apologise. This is. I think we're still on my Twitter. So potentially on Twitter still. Let's just carry on as we are, but it has just flashed up telling me we're not. Let me just wave to see on Twitter if we are. This is the most strangest podcast I've ever hosted before, and I'm waving on Twitter, so yes, we are on there. So we'll carry on. In terms of Richarlison, Wednesday and Saturday, Aaron, is this night and day difference to last year?
It's definitely night and day. That you put it perfectly there. I think when it comes to Richarlison, since he came from Everton, we always knew there'd be a player in there, but we've never seen him reach his full potential at all in a Tottenham shirt. I think those past 2 games, that's the level we need to be seeing him at consistently. And it's you can't put it all down to him. Obviously, he's had those injuries. He can't stay fit. He can be out 2-3 times a season. He can come back for 2 games, and normally he comes back for 2 games. He might even get a goal, and then he's out for another month, and you forget about him, or longer. And I think it's important to note as well, when he did come back into the squad under Ange, he was playing left wing, and that's probably hindered what we can see from him, because it's very clear now since seeing him in these last two games, that left wing definitely was not going to bring the best out of him. He needs to be up. He needs to be up top, hold up play, and ready to pounce on those chances and be first to the ball. And even just dropping off their centre half and just creating his own space in the box, which is what he did twice, or he probably did it more than twice, but twice at the weekend, and it paid off both times. So I think we're definitely going to start seeing the best. And what's exciting is I don't think we have even seen the best yet. I think there's still more to come from him this year, which is really exciting.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think in terms of the way he's been playing, he's come in since returning from sort of those lengthy injuries, James. Just thinking of people around him last season wasn't necessarily getting them crosses in, and Kudus made that sort of instant impact with wanting to get the ball in the box, and Richarlison seems to sort of thrive on those. I think that where the one-on-one that he missed, perhaps he was thinking about it and missed it, whereas the two others are sort of reactive, is having those type of players supplying him something that's going to really really help him long term.
Yeah, absolutely. You could probably argue that last season, either Solanke or Richarlison potentially looked a bit isolated at times. So yeah, I mean, Kudus looks to be a great signing. He's already played in the Premier League for West Ham, and not only can he beat a man and has the skill, he just seems to have like this sort of extra strength on the ball. Like against PSG, there was a moment where he sort of got it, shielded it, and still managed to wriggle his way through. He does look very exciting. So yeah, I mean, if he can put those crosses in and Richarlison's in the box and he thrives, he's good in the air as well. We know he can head a ball. So yeah, exciting times, hopefully.
Dylan, do you agree with David Clark here? I haven't changed my mind on Richarlison, but I'm willing to have my mind changed. I think I'm kind of with David on that. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a few players like that where we've sort of been a bit, 50-50 with and just not sure about, and they've ended up being fantastic. I know Richarlison, it's been very frustrating with him because we've had him for a few years now. Even when he was at Everton, you could probably say he wasn't exactly fantastic, and injuries have held him back quite a lot, just sort of lack of consistency. But, if we can just get someone who knows what they're doing, like you're saying, Kudus, someone can just cross it in for him, and he's quite an agile player, so he can hold off the ball really well. He can definitely get some goals in 100% and release the R9 out of him.
I definitely agree. Yeah, he wants to be R9. He's got a tattoo of R9 on his back, isn't he? Which with a photo of himself as well, which is quite interesting. I've got a few tattoos, none of myself though. It might be something I consider potentially never. In terms of Kudus getting that ball in, I thought he was fantastic. He looked dangerous, and I think we'll all sort of sit here and agree, really, that the thing we were most excited about was his dribbling ability. But Aaron, his crossing ability was brilliant on Saturday.
It was surprising because when we were getting linked with him at the start, you were seeing West Ham fans on X, and they were saying, "Oh, but he's got no end product, so yeah, you can have him. It's not going to matter to us because he can do all the dribbling, but there's nothing at the end of it." And in the first game or first Premier League game for us, he's gone and put in the best crosses we've seen in a long time, probably since Perisic. Perisic crosses is the best cross I've seen since that Mohamed Kudus one. And that wasn't expecting it. I was expecting just to get someone that he might be able to cut it back, or he'd get to the goal line and then he'd cut back, pass it back, and Porro might be able to cross it in, and that was going to be the trend. But the fact that he has the ability to do that as well is definitely going to be key this season.
No, I agree with you. I think that especially him and Pedro Porro is going to be a dangerous right hand side, and if we could potentially replicate that on the left, with someone obviously behind a striker as well, we could be in for some very exciting times ahead. James, just coming to you, was you surprised by the midfield three on Saturday, which was Gray, Bergvall and Sarr?
Yes and no, just because of the way players were rotated from Wednesday. Where you've got Gray coming on as a sub in the Super Cup, and Bergvall obviously was on the bench as well, wasn't he, against PSG? So I guess it makes sense that he's freshened it up and put them in. I don't think he really needs to play Paulino, did he, against Burnley? He's not the sort of player you don't really want to be crowding out the midfield and having that destroyer, so to speak, in there. And Johnson as well, getting his start. I thought he was very quiet, but still pops up with a goal. So a little bit surprising, but I think now modern football, it's just you're always going to have to rotate, especially when you're in extra competitions and in Europe and stuff. You've got to freshen it up, haven't you, and change it. And I thought Gray looked excellent as well. He's got a lot of unnecessary stick, I think, from a few fans, but he's still very young, and I thought he was great on Saturday.
Yeah, I echo that actually. I think that the way that I think it might be where you sat in the stadium, and I know that sounds quite strange because I was very low down and I could see him a lot, whereas in different parts you may not have noticed him, and in the way
No, I
that
didn't
he's
really notice
played.
him. Yeah, but
Yeah, see, I noticed him a lot because I was like second row, so I'm very close to them, and I noticed him a lot in the way he was moving, and in that sort of role that he has, he's not really meant to be seen. And I know that sounds strange, and the reason I say that is because he's breaking up plays, ball retention, he's getting it and moving it quickly, and being an outlet for someone, just a one or two touch pass, really quick, moving the ball,
yeah,
and sometimes that just people don't register that as much.
yeah,
And I think that that's why certainly some of the sort of things that I've seen similar to you is perhaps saying that, what did he really do? But I went and rewatched the game this morning at work, and I thought he was brilliant because I was trying to look for him. But I think that he gets some unwanted criticism, but I'm pleased that you've picked him out there as well.
Yeah, it's only because there's another podcast I listened to. I won't name it, and one of the guests on there was just sort of digging in and saying, 40 million, we've had our pants pulled down, but I don't agree personally. I just think, like I said, he's still young, a top English talent, and like the same as you, Gary. I didn't really notice it on the day. I'd had a couple of beers as well, but when I've gone back and on Sunday watched clips and stuff and like what he's actually done. I think he's, again, an exciting prospect for the future with Bergvall as well, because they're both very young players still.
And Dylan, Bergvall looked to be in the 10. I thought Sarr might be ended up in the 10, but Bergvall did. How did you think that he performed in that 10 role?
He was all right. It's kind of like Gray. I didn't notice him too much on the ball. I think he did okay. He's still a young player as well. It's definitely not someone I would keep as a number 10. But I think it was probably maybe just a one-off. I can't say too much from top of my head. There was a lot going on in that game. But that's all I can really think about.
Yeah, I get where you're going with it, and I think that kind of a bit back to a little bit like James was saying that the rotation was needed. Obviously, everyone needs to get some minutes in, but I think it was good that we went in with that young talent as well that all have the ability to play in those roles and kind of interchange. But I felt that Gray really stayed to his position, whereas Bergvall and Sarr moved around a little bit more. I thought Bergvall played well. Again, those positions are difficult when we're really crying out for someone like, I don't know, an Eze, for instance, if we could sign someone of that stature. That's the kind of creative force I think we're all crying out for, maybe. Aaron, just coming to you, the same back five, same back five from the previous game. Danzo, sorry. Back five wise, what did you feel? There was Poro, Romero, Mickey van der Ven, and Jed Spence, along with obviously just the normal goalkeeper and Vicario. Back five, was you comfortable with that? Did you think that maybe Danzo might start after a good showing on Wednesday, or is that our best back five at the moment?
That's definitely our best back line. I didn't think that Danso would start. I thought he was needed for the PSG game, for the type of game plan we laid out for that. And obviously there was a lot of thought put into that and very specific needs, probably to do with him wanting to have that long throw as well. because at PSG you knew you weren't going to get many chances. So any chance you were up that close to their box, you wanted to take every opportunity to just get a ball in the box and try and cause some problems. So I was expecting to go back to a back four, obviously with Vicario. And I think that benefits us a lot because we can hold the ball more against teams like Burnley when they want to sit back. I think we don't need that five. It's better to fill up the midfield and just be more creative, get on the ball, which is definitely what we did. Looking on to City as well, I think then I'd be more confident that we'd probably go for a back five against teams like that when we sit back and counter them. So that's the beauty of Thomas Frank. He's very adaptable for who we're playing. So I think I'm pretty confident he can get it spot on whether to do or that back line to choose. But yeah, they were very solid at the weekend.
Yeah, James, coming to you, what was your thoughts on the back five into the back four? Obviously Danzo stepping out in this one. Was you comfortable with both of those, and do you think that might be something that we sort of tend to do in the future when we're playing a stronger teams? No disrespect to Burnley.
Yeah. I agree with Aaron as well. I think that going into the Man City game, you'd probably want a lineup that's more similar to the one that we had against PSG. And then when you're playing teams like Burnley at home, again, no disrespect, but you got to attack more, and you can't. There's no point in having five at the back or having two sixes or crowding the midfield out. You've got to got to get on the ball and create. I know we're lacking a bit of a creative spark at the moment, but I think Frank's got it spot on both games. I mean, maybe the subs against PSG, maybe not the best, but again, we're playing the European champions at the end of the day. I was still pretty down about that game going into Saturday. I just felt like we threw a trophy away with 5 minutes to go, but the team still played well. And yeah, on Saturday, if Danzo comes in and he's got that long throw every time you see him coming over now for a long throw, it's quite entertaining. And obviously bring Paulina back into the midfield, possibly with Bentancur and Sarr again. I mean, I thought Sarr was very good on Saturday. Burfield didn't particularly put up any trees, but all the attention was on Kudus and Richarlison, wasn't it?
Yeah. Dillion, coming to you, just looking at that front three of Mohamed Kudus, Brennan Johnson and Richarlison, how did you think that they individually played? I felt Richarlison was very good. Johnson was quite quiet. How about yourself?
Yeah, I think a few people with Johnson as well probably thought Odobert was going to start, but I mean, Johnson, for me, is a bit more of a finisher than a winger. I think he definitely proved that as well, to the point where he did end up having a nice little finish a few minutes after Richarlison. But yeah, I think Richarlison, he's been solid the last couple of games. He can just sort of hold off some of the players, a bit like Kudus does. Probably not to the same extent, but if he can just keep up with that and just do that pretty much every chance he can get in the games he gets, he could definitely be starting a lot more often. And with Kudus, I think his position is pretty solid. Honestly, last couple of games, especially the Burnley one, he just looked untouchable, absolutely untouchable. I couldn't believe it. I think again for me, he was my man of the match. Probably just over Richarlison, just because of the way he played. It just looked really, really solid, though. I think Brennan Johnson, though, is something, if we want to get someone a bit more like Kudus on the left-hand side, someone like Savinho, maybe, who we are potentially trying to look into, I think he'd be fantastic up there.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Kudus was excellent. Ratings-wise on FootMob, he got an 8.9, whereas Richarlison got a 9.1. And it's not a huge difference in the ratings there. Obviously, the two goals are already what sort of clinches it for Richarlison. But Aaron, who did you think was the man of the match? Was you echoing Dillion, or did you think going with Richarlison was the right move?
No, I think Kudus would, because it's when you think man of the match, it's always the goal scorers, and I know he scored two, and one was probably goal of the season contenders' first game. But I think I like when looking at man of the match, I like the overall play and what they added to the game. Without Kudus, those chances, like without those quality assists, those chances wouldn't have even began to arise for Charlton to even finish them. If it was another winger crossing it in, he wouldn't have had the chance. So I think because of that, I think Kudus was definitely a top contender for man of the match.
James is coming to you without Kudus. Would those chances have even been crossed in? Under Ange, I don't think we would have crossed them in, but this is post Ange now. Who did you see as man of the match?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. But I don't know. I'm a bit of a sucker for goals like that, especially the second one. So I think I would just about give it to Richarlison. I mean, they were both outstanding, but to score a scissor kick like that on the opening day, um, you've got to take your hat off to him, really. But yeah, a great debut from Kudus as well. Even a little bit of skill where he's brought the ball down with the inside or outside of his foot. I can't remember now. Was it? Just trying, yeah.
It was the inside
The
of his
inside,
other foot. Of his
yeah.
other foot around his standing foot,
Yeah, I
and I
know,
was
unbelievable.
directly behind him, and
Yeah.
I nearly sort of fell off my
Yeah,
seat
because I couldn't
when I
really see
saw
it
it.
properly. I just saw the ball bounce weird because I was quite high up, and everyone just was
Yeah,
sort of praising. I was like, "Is he just? I didn't really see it." And then obviously I saw the replay. But I mean, if them two are going to strike up like a telepathic Kane Son esque partnership, then that we're in for a good ride. But maybe I'm getting a bit carried away there. But another thing as well, Bergvall took a lot of our throws, didn't he? So he must have come runner up in the long throw competition to Danzo. So,
he did. He took
yeah.
quite a few of those throws. I mean, they were good. They weren't Danzo's quality. I think they were good. I thought on set pieces we were very were solid. I don't know, Dylan or you, James, if you saw, but where I was sitting, and it really rung true with me. Obviously, watching sort of the last couple of years with Ange, that every time we had a set piece, Thomas Frank came out of his area and sort of stood by the bench and allowed the set piece coach with his tactic board, or it looked like a Filofax to me, but I was quite far away. Filofax is, for anyone that's younger, it's just a notepad, essentially. But it looked like he was standing there and giving out instructions, and I thought that was night and day. Dylan, did you see that when you were in the stadium, that he kept moving?
I mean, from where I was sitting, it wasn't as close as you, so I wasn't. I definitely didn't notice too much of either managers, to be honest. I was pretty much just have my eyes on the game all times. I was occasionally have a look at Thomas Frank, seeing his reactions to certain moments, but I think I agree with you. But when you said set pieces look pretty solid, it's something to definitely build on, look forward to as the season comes up. Especially, I think against much stronger teams as well. I think that's where we might try and capitalize on them the most, especially just trying to get a goal in. It's very important. But that's what I think.
James, did you pay much attention to Thomas Frank, or you are not as weird as me that likes to sort of look
No,
and see what the manager's doing?
I did actually sort of make an effort to keep looking to my left. Just he's very animated on the side, in a good way. Look, he seems very positive. I couldn't really see the Filofax. I'm didn't have my glass.
It wasn't a Filofax. It was a clipboard or
Yeah,
something, but
yeah,
Filofax popped into my head. I've been watching
yeah.
Only Fools and Horses today, so that's probably why.
Yeah, I didn't have my glasses on, but yeah, I think we can already see an improvement in set pieces. I think only a slight one, but if we can get more crosses in from the other side as well. Like I think Dylan mentioned, Johnson's not exactly much of a crosser of the ball, is he? He can't really beat a man. He's not in the same mould as Kudus, like completely different. But yeah, I mean, if we can get sort of more crosses in from both sides, then and if you've got Solanke or Richarlison as a target man, then there's no reason why we can't get goals from set pieces.
No, absolutely. I get into the stadiums quite early. I've always been like that. Does come from sort of old coaching days where I like to see the warm ups and see what they do for coaching wise, because I used to go and replicate that myself. But watching as they were warming up, there was a lot of corners, a lot of set pieces being taken. Aaron, they clearly are practicing this at every moment of the day. It seems it's clear to Thomas Frank this is very important. Whereas under Ange in the last couple of years, we didn't look. It wasn't as important. How is it to you? Is it very important or not?
It's definitely very important. It's not just set pieces, corners, etc. It's every restart in play. There's a plan and there's a method behind that restart. It's not just right. So we got it here, pass it to the nearest guy. There's every restart anywhere on the pitch. They've got a plan behind it, and just it's marginal gains. So every little bit of structure and plan you can have to calm players down and have that structure and um, ideas that they need to produce, I think it's definitely beneficial in every way. Every small thing makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that definitely they've gone to the drawing board. They've looked at where perhaps we struggled last season and where Brentford were definitely stronger. And they've got a strategy. And looking at the weekend, it clearly worked. And I think on Wednesday night it worked as well. Substitutes wise, James, how did you think the subs went? Because you made alluded to earlier that on Wednesday not that great. How did you think they played on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, a bit better. I think the game's already under control, isn't it? And won. Whereas Wednesday's a different kettle of fish. It's very easy to point fingers at substitutions when you end up losing the game. Well, drawing the game, albeit on penalties. But I just found it strange on Wednesday how Johnson was left out completely. After getting a winner in a Europa League final. But yeah, I mean, obviously he's then going to start on Saturday. But yeah, I mean, it's just more comfortable on Saturday, and I think the subs were made at the right time, and they weren't really needed to be impactful, were they? They were just rotating the players, giving players a rest, fresh legs coming on, and yeah, hopefully they can go to plan more like that in home games. I think away games is probably going to be more tricky.
Yeah, Dylan, how did you think that the substitutions went on Saturday opposed to Wednesday?
Well, I mean, I think it's a bit different. You're already 3-0 up at that point.
Yeah.
20 minutes to go. It was all right. I suppose I think we were just sort of sitting back at that point, but there was nothing really to complain too much about for me, just sort of getting a bit of a run out. I think we'll probably change that for next game as well. Because I think, Gray starting, I think Bentancur will start this time.
Yeah.
I think we wanted to rest Bentancur a little bit after the Super Cup. He did have a solid performance at the Super Cup, but, ultimately just not starting today. But yeah, I think they did all right. Yeah, I think it's
good to see Tell get a good, obviously he's going to get a good reception, but to get like online abuse and that is just disgusting, isn't it? So hopefully it's not going to affect him too much, and he can put that to one side and crack on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're not a Spurs fan or already any sort of decent human being, if you're sort of going on and doing those type of things,
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Tottenham's 3-0 win over Burnley at the weekend. Substitute wise, when Tell came on, I think he's got a fantastic reception when he came on. Dylan, how did you see the substitutions play out in terms of Tell, Polinia, Bentancur, Solanke, Odegaard? Did they impact it, or was it we were just seeing the game out?
I think we were just seeing the game out a bit. 3-0 up. First substitutes came on with just about 20 minutes to go. So I think Burnley looked pretty defeated at that point. They did have a few chances, but nothing threatening. But I think the substitutes just came on, did what they had to do. A few players making their, I think, well, not a few, but Paulinho making his Premier League debut for Spurs. So it was good to see him get a bit of a run out. Everyone just looked sort of solid. There was nothing too big to sort of point out, in my opinion. But yeah, I think something we'll look forward to next match day. Maybe they'll have a bit more involvement then.
Yeah, absolutely. Aaron, how did you see the substitutions play out as opposed to Wednesday? Happy with them? Anything you would change?
Yeah, no complaints. Obviously, of Wednesday PSG, I think those subs you can't really put it down to Thomas because realistically the depth wasn't great. You have to make changes when you're constantly defending that. the best team in the world, it's going to take a toll on the players. So you did have to make subs, and that was just who was available on the bench. Having said that, those players that did come off as subs and didn't put in the best in performance then played really good game on Saturday. So it just shows it doesn't matter. They're still good players. But yeah, I don't think the subs role was as important at the weekend. Obviously, it was just seeing it out. Try to keep the clean sheet at the end of the day. Can't hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. And just finally on sort of Burnley's chat, James, how did you see Kudus, and overall, was you happy with that performance? Do you think there's more in him? Tell us a little bit about your feelings seeing him live for the first time.
Yeah, just I don't think we've had a player like that for a while. To have like a maverick style winger, who can beat a man, show skill. They're quite rare in football these days, aren't they? And I think we got one now, so very happy with that. Obviously, he's had a full pre-season, to bed in. It's just frustrating we can't get other bodies in and over the line sort of at the same time for our first Premier League game. The whole Eze thing rumbling on now. If we would have had him at the same time as Kudus, we'd probably look more settled and possibly could have got over the line against PSG. But yeah, you're very happy, and I think he's well worth the money.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll just move on to some other quick news. Jed Spence has signed a new contract with the club. It's not been revealed how long that contract is. However, he did say today, it's been a roller coaster, but I'm over the moon. Dillion, are you over the moon that he's staying and re-signed a new contract?
Yes, exact phrase I would use. Yeah, he's had a few tough years at Spurs, especially he joined under Conte, struggled for game time. He's been loaned out a few times as well. He even nearly left when we loaned him out to Genoa, and they had a buy option, but they denied it. I'm really glad they did. But he's had a massive turnaround. From what I read earlier, it was only the Southampton 5-0 Southampton win back in December where he made his full Premier League debut for us, which I couldn't believe. It'd been that long. And even then, he shined that game, and it was very exciting to see. And he's been absolutely excellent last season, despite how tough it was. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how he'll be under Thomas Frank. I'm sure he's got an exciting future at Spurs.
Aaron, your thoughts? Happy that he's extended? It looks like potentially a pay rise rather than a long contract, longer years. But give us your thoughts.
Yeah, very happy. I think Spence is the perfect example of that. There's always silver linings. So massive injury crisis last year, obviously hindered our season massively. However, him coming through and getting that chance to prove himself was definitely one of the good things that came of last season. He's probably one of the only, apart from our Europa League campaign and then Jed Spence, I think, was the two really positives from last season. So very happy that I don't know about what you said about extending years wise, but even if he's just getting that new contract, the recognition he deserves should help him. And yeah, even if it is a pay rise, he deserves it.
James, well deserved.
Yeah, I agree with Aaron. It's well deserved. Just shows you that in any job, walk of life, you work hard, you get rewarded. He's stuck at it. I think I might have said this the last time I came on. It just reminds me of when Bale was at the club as well, and he struggled in his early days. And there was talk of him going on loan at Forest, and he eventually got his chance. And Spence got his chance and taking it with both hands. Like Dillion said, Genoa, I think it was only 8 million they had an option to buy him. I mean, thank God we didn't we didn't take that. That would have been an absolute nightmare. I mean, obviously you can't look into the future, but yeah, very talented player. Really happy with that. And then to follow it up with Mamero later on in the day, I think it's showing that the club's got a set plan or a clear vision at last of players they want to keep and stuff, and just need to follow it up with a couple more signings, I think.
Yeah, just coming on to Romero, he's obviously signed a new deal till 2029. It was his first sort of broke by Paul O'Keefe, and then very quickly all over the Tottenham sort of pages. He commented, said, "I'm here to stay. Spurs is my family. I love the fans and I love this club." Now, Aaron, is that probably one of the best bits of news we've had this season so far.
That is definitely the best bit of news. He captain. That's perfect choice for captain this year. I wouldn't have. Literally no debate. I don't think anyone can debate anyone else who deserves it more than him. And then having that contract, get that further backing behind him, definitely proves that the board are trying to choose their players that they know they want and build a team around, and they're definitely putting their words that we always hear them saying. We want to use the Europa League as a springboard, and then these contracts are just as important to proving to the fans that they're definitely building something as just as important as new signings are. So definitely impressed with that.
Yeah, I'm of the same opinion. I'm really pleased he stayed. I think Dillion, we both have said before that there was some worry that giving him the captain's armband, he may not stay on. But are you happy with that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm absolutely delighted. I mean, there was talks of him, potentially leaving over this summer. It was linked to Atletico Madrid, and apparently the deal was never closed, thankfully, from what I read. Just the amount of passion he has for the club and just for football in general, and to see him put pen to paper for a long-term contract, just it's. I think it's what we need at the club right now. We need something to look forward to. A player like him, especially. I know we've got some quality players, but I mean, Romero is someone probably would have thought he might have gone off to, I don't know, somewhere in Spain, up to Madrid or something like that over the next couple of years. But yeah, over the moon to see him staying there. Hopefully, Van der Ven will follow in his footsteps.
They say that good news, they say bad news comes in threes, but we'll say good news comes in threes. So Van der Ven signing an extension would be great, but I feel like potentially Bentancur might be the next one across the line. James, would you like to see Bentancur stay for a longer period?
Yeah, I think so. I saw those rumours as well. He's been a player that's been very unlucky with injuries, isn't he? I think before he got that knee injury, he was looking like one of our best players, and now it's maybe not the case, but still a very important player. Another South American international, Uruguayan, sorry, and an important squad member. So yeah, I think it'd be good to see him sign as well, along with Romero. I think Van der Ven as well, obviously, is another key player going forward. As long as these players can stay injury free, I think last season was a bit of a freak, to be honest. But if they can, then there's no reason why we can't, climb up that table like we had in previous seasons.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he'll be definitely. I hope that he stays. There's obviously been some talk about potentially outgoings to his sort of running mate in midfield in Basuma. Aaron, do you think that Basuma is likely to leave this summer, or do you think that he might be on for a new contract?
Well, when it comes, he's been disciplined by the new manager. It's not a great start to life under Thomas for him. But at the same time, he has shown us that he can perform. But I don't think that he's shown it on a consistent basis. And when you're we're making these signings, trying to be competitive, and you want that spots in midfield to be competitive, because we've got quite a few of them now. I think he'd find himself falling short of being selected quite a lot, especially when you have the likes of Gray coming through. I reckon he might even be chosen over him, because obviously we've got Polinia now. He's going to be the one that comes off the bench to hold these games down or start against the bigger teams. So I'm not sure where Basuma is going to start to fit in. So it might be in his best interest to find a move elsewhere. And I don't know, he wasn't in the squad. I don't know if he's got the same injury Pep says Savinho has, and that he's on the way, or he is generally injured. But I guess we'll find out during the week.
Dillion, disciplinary matters was what was said before PSG game. Do you think that might be what was on Saturday, or did he pick up a mysterious injury?
No, I mean, Frank did say that he was going to be back in the squad for Burnley, but that clearly isn't the case. No, I think I've talked about it the last few months. I think Basuma is probably a surplus to requirements at the moment, and we've got quite a bit of depth in midfield. He's not been consistent for Spurs. I quite like him as a person, but I just don't think that he's going to fit at the moment under Frank's system. So I mean, whether he will leave this summer, I'm not sure, but I definitely don't think he's going to get much game time.
Yeah, James, there's been a few reports that clubs in Italy are interested, and then there's been some other reports saying that he wants to stay in England because he can then get a English passport next year. These disciplinary problems, should we say, have happened with two Tottenham managers, and we're at Brighton as well. Do you think that it's just one too many and it's time to move on?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely time to move on. Personally, he's a good player. I've just never really been a big fan, to be honest. It's just, when you're just sort of waiting for him to explode or come into the team, it just never really happened for him. I think even like the most talented players, sometimes it doesn't happen for him at certain clubs for whatever reason. Doesn't work in certain systems, get on with certain teammates, managers. But yeah, I mean, the problems before with the balloons and now, more disciplinary problems. And at one point, like last season, don't get me wrong, there were some performances where he looked like he was getting to some good form, especially in the Europa League, but I don't think it's enough. And we've got, like we've all just said, we've got a lot of depth in that midfield now, especially if we're going to bring in another couple. And yeah, we're going to need the money as well. And if we can get, I don't know, what's being touted around 15, 20 million, maybe Serie A suits his game better as that pivot, but in a sort of different paced league. But yeah, I think we need the money, the transfer funds back in if we're going to finally be spending money.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's probably time that he does move on. 15, 20 million sort of seems a decent figure really for someone in the last year of contract. West Ham and Everton have reportedly been interested, but sort of he's been on lists and nothing's sort of come of it. I don't think this disciplinary issues give him any encouragements of those moves. So we may be in having him for another season. But just moving on to incomings, which I'm sure everybody has been refreshing Twitter of every second of the day. Reported just before we came on from Matt Law of the Daily Telegraph, saying we are edging closer to signing Eberici Eze. We seem to be edging closer every day for the past 2 weeks, and the deal was reported around 60 million. Starting with you, Aaron, is Eze the man that we need?
Yeah, I'm not sure how close a club can get without actually signing a contract. To be honest, if there's a limit, we're definitely touching it now. But I think the profile we're going to get with him is exactly what we need. Well, I say exactly. I reckon. Obviously, I think it's been a lot of a fan led transfer. I feel like it was just fans saying, "Oh, Eze, they want Eze, they want Eze." And I was never seeing anything official from any indication that the club wanted him. And then obviously the Morgan Gibbs White saga happened, and I was like, right, so we've obviously chosen him over Eze because they'd play in the similar position. And then when that falls through, and then you get the Eze news coming through after that, I reckon as a fan base, we've all kind of manifested that Eze does happen. Having said that, it's definitely a good option. At the 10, not left wing, I've seen some people say he could be the left wing replacement, but he's definitely more effective as a 10. So if we get him in plus a left winger like Savinho, I think he's definitely could add to this attack. I just can't imagine we've had a better attack in a long time. So I'll be really excited to see what he can bring.
Dillion, just coming to you and your thoughts on Eze. Where would you see his best position? Would it be in the 10 or would it from left? And if he was coming to the club, are you happy and excited by that?
Yeah, no. A number 10, I think that's what we've promised him. I think, just sort of, I think that's where he wants to be as well. Number 10 role, it's where he suits best. I'd be absolutely over the moon over this signing. I've been waiting genuinely years for it. I've been every single transfer window we've always been linked with. I think all the way running back to like 2018, 2019, since he was like at QPR. It's ridiculous how long it's been going on. But this is the closest we've been. So yeah, like Aaron's saying, how close can we be at this point? It's ridiculous. But I think he's someone we need, especially now with Maddison injured and the Morgan Gibbs White deal not going through. I think it's someone we definitely need to look look into, because I don't think we can really rely on Sarr or Bergvall as a number 10, because I don't think that's the strongest position. So, I mean, yeah, I would love Eze in the club absolutely right now.
James, can you see Eze in the number 10 role behind Richarlison and Kudus on the right, and then maybe a Tell or an Odeburn on the left? How would that sort of front four seem for you?
Yeah, I mean that's finally worth the ticket prices we have to pay, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, my brother's a Crystal Palace fan, and he's absolutely gutted that this might be happening. I think at one point when I came on last time, it was more likely he was maybe going to go to that lot down the road. So I think, now, like Dillion said, now Maddison's out, this is the perfect replacement. I'm surprised, to be honest, Palace aren't pushing for more money, really. I mean, the back end of season he had last season, the second half of the season with the goals he got, and he's got into the England squad, forced his way into the England squad, and English talent. I thought they'd want sort of closer to 70, 80 million, but if we can get him for this, same sort of money as Kudus, or 55, 60, whatever it's looking like, then again, that's a great deal in today's game, isn't it? It's what you pay for these players now. So yeah,
I think if we get him for 55 million plus a 5 million add-on, which is the most reported, that to me is an absolute steal for him. I would have
100%,
wanted more. I would have been wanted more. I'm similar to Dillion. I've probably wanted him for the last sort of 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
He's always been sort of my number one sort of wish to come to Tottenham. I think he unlocks a lot of stuff. But looking at last season, and Aaron, he's gone and won trophies. He's won the FA Cup. All right, he's won the Charity Shield as well, but he's won the FA Cup. He's won things, and I think that a club like Tottenham, we need winners. Do you agree that we need winners to get us over the line in critical times?
Yeah, we do. And I think Palace fans would be saying similar things to what we said when Son was leaving. Look, he's been here for a while. He's won his trophy. He's won the FA Cup with Palace now. I think if there was any time we were going to do this transfer, obviously, Dillion said since 2019 we've been trying to get a sniff of Eze. But now the fact that obviously he's done that with his club that gave him his big platform, and I think now is the right time for him to come to us and elevate his career, and hopefully we're the club that he can show his top level at.
Where is that glass ceiling, Aaron? Dillion, for him? Where do you see him? Could he go on and be one of the best players in the Premier League? Is he already one of the best players in the league?
Well, he's definitely proved himself to be at the point where we are now. I think for me, he's definitely in his position as well. 100% one of the best. There's definitely, I think definitely if he came to us under Thomas Frank, I'd like to think he would run circles around everyone. But I mean, it's just something we'd have to wait and see if it does eventually happen. Again, I'm still not quite holding my breath, because until the moment I actually see him in a Spurs shirt, and especially after the Morgan Gibbs White deal, I'm trying to be a bit cautious here, so I not get too excited. But you can't blame me. I've waited so long. I need to see it happen.
James, are you of the same opinion? It feels like it's within touching distance, but I don't want to get too excited just in case we get another Morgan Gibbs White situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously snowballed a little bit. It's a small snowball rolling down a small hill. But yeah, until I see him with that shirt in a press conference, I'm not going to believe it. It's just Tottenham as well, isn't it? At the end of the day, I mean, the Morgan Gibbs White thing, you just couldn't write it. It's a very strange, bizarre thing that happened, but in a way, maybe a blessing in disguise, because I think this is a better fit for us, and it's a better player. More influential, more goals, more powerful, better passing. It's just all-round package, isn't it? I mean, the fact that I don't even want to keep mentioning him, but the other lot down the road were interested as well. So, and they've unfortunately finished higher than us in the last few seasons. So, yeah, if we can finally get this one over the line, then Daniel Levy, I'll forgive you for some of the other things you've done in the past.
Let's not get too carried away just yet. We're not quite there yet. But Salvinho is the next one that's been heavily linked with us. Today, Guillaume Balaguer of La Liga reported that Man City have decided Salvinho is to stay. This kills any possibility of Rodrigo joining City. Real Madrid did not get an offer for him, and it wasn't dependent on Savinho leaving. Aaron, conflicting reports. Some are saying deal's still on. Guillaume Balaguer, well-respected La Liga sort of analyst, I guess, journalist, is saying it isn't. Where's your head at with that? Would Savinho be someone that you'd be very interested in bringing to Tottenham?
I definitely want him. I definitely want him here. He definitely improves our front line a lot. What I'm thinking is when you're scrolling through X, you got loads of people claiming to be ITKs, people that are reporting loads of different things, and you honestly don't know what to believe anymore. Originally I was thinking, right, this makes sense. I'm seeing City links to Rodrigo. Savinho leaves, we take him. They take the money from their sale to us, and it's probably they don't have to add much to that to then get in a decent bid for Rodrigo, who probably about, I think I saw the 100 million mark. So if we're going to be paying 70 for Savinho around that, it's not, for City standards, it's not too much of a difference they have to make up. So I thought in my head that all makes sense, and I was getting quite confident. And then you get the reports come in saying they don't want to leave. You get Pep saying all this stuff in a press conference. So I think we just need to be patient, and I think the focus definitely is on Eze right now. So I reckon once we get this Eze deal over the line, things will start to become a lot clearer on where we are with him. But yeah, I think that's where we're at right now.
James, just coming to Savinho. Yesterday, Paul O'Keefe reported that if we were to do that deal, it is likely to be Tottenham's record transfer. Do you think he's a record transfer type of player?
In my opinion, no. But I probably haven't. If I'm completely honest, I probably haven't seen enough of him to, have a valid opinion. I mean, I think it's a lot of money. Have they got the two transfer fees mixed up with him and Eze? I mean, I don't know. I think it's just a lot of money. I'd be very, very surprised if we get both over the line. I mean, it's very un-Tottenham, but Levy has, says he wants to win the Premier League, says he wants to win the Champions League, and if he's going to start backing them up with these signings, then fair enough. But yeah, I mean, I think it's too much money for him personally. Bottom line, but I've just seen one of the comments as well about Brazilians. I mean, Richarlison already being at the club, that could help him settle potentially. But yeah, I mean, if we can get both done, that's amazing. But I think Eze's got to be the priority.
Yeah, Dillion, how do you feel on that potential record transfer signing?
Well, yeah, it's definitely a lot of money. I think he did well before he was at City. I think when he did come to City, he's been playing out of position. It's something that some players have struggled under Pep. Jack Grealish. He was quality at Aston Villa, then he went to City and really struggled. Now he's gone off loan to Everton, and he might even thrive there. He might do really well. It's definitely a lot of money for someone who's not played a lot of Premier League games. But I mean, really, you've just got to think about also who is now at Tottenham, manager-wise. He tends to take players, Thomas Frank, from players who people don't really know, who have definitely massive potential, and makes them blow up quite a bit. So I mean, if we do get him over the line, we're now then counting that he's gonna do really, really well at Spurs. But it's a bit hard to tell. But I think that's just what we're gonna have to see if it does eventually go through.
I think the reported sort of 70 million that's being reported. He's a good player, but I have to agree with a lot of you that he's not proven, which sounds odd, seeing as he's been in a Premier League winning team. He's not playing week in, week out. Is he what is going to unlock so much for us? And I think he would, but I worry slightly about the pricing. But equally, the deal could be completely off as per Guillaume Balaguer, but other people saying it isn't. So if, let's say hypothetically it is off, and we just go around the houses everywhere here, Aaron, who would you like to see out on that left-hand side if we don't get Savinho, or are you happy with Attell, Odegaard, Johnson?
I've always said I think Odebear is definitely capable of doing good under Frank. I definitely prefer Savinho to get in, but I don't know if it's a priority. I definitely think getting Eze over the line in that 10 position was more of a priority and more vital to us because we do have players that can definitely put in a shift on the left. Um, and you say Savinho is quite a young player, so if we're focusing on bringing him, um, because we need experience or like, and you've got kind of got that here already. So I reckon if we did fail to go for him, I reckon we can put trust in Taylor Odebear to start pushing through.
Yeah, James, we spent 35 million on Tell that plays pretty much from the left. Do we need to spend another 65, 70 million on Savinho? And if not, is Tell the answer for you, or is there somebody else?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we need to. I think it's a bit excessive to spend that money, but Tell, I'm not too sure on. I mean, I think Odebear is probably the better of the two, but still, like, there's still a lot of potential there. Still young players. You know, they need minutes, they need games. The talent's obviously there, and with Johnson as well. And again, it's a player gets a lot of stick at times. Um, I know he can't potentially beat a man and the crossing, but he still has that knack of being in the right place at the right time, scoring goals. And at the end of the day, we're going to need goals from midfield. So you can't really see Solanke and Richarlison getting, Kane, the amount of goals Kane would get, for example, in the past. So those goals from midfield are important. So I'm happy with sort of those three as options on the left hand side, definitely. Also, with Dillion said about Grealish, I'm really surprised we weren't linked to him more. I know he's probably a bit old, he's older now and stuff, and he was out of favour at City, but we've been linked to him in the past, and it was a bit surprising that they didn't resurface. But again, Eze is probably the better option. So nothing lost
Yeah,
there.
I think Jack Grealish would come from the left quite a lot at
Yeah.
City and Villa, and I thought that opened up a
Mm.
lot of potential for us in
Yeah.
both areas, and especially the way that sort of Tottenham do seem to like to do a deal in terms of a loan deal with
Yeah.
let's try before we buy. And Dylan, was you surprised that we didn't go for Grealish?
Yeah, but he's definitely, to me, he just sort of screams Tottenham player. I don't know why. Uh, when I saw Everton being linked with them, and I did see a few links with us as well. I think he would have been more of a left winger for us than a cam, especially with all the Eze links at that point. I'm a little bit surprised, but obviously it's been overshadowed by all these Savinho links, and that it's happening and all that. I mean, if we don't get Savinho now, I think people are gonna be a little bit upset, just to sort of think. I know we do have options on the left for sure, but when you've sort of been teasing everyone with someone who Man City don't even want to get rid of, by the way. So there must be something about Savinho that has got quite a lot of potential. But yeah, I think maybe it'd be a bit of a loss. But if we can get Eze and Savinho over the line, I think I'd be quite happy. It will be expensive, but sometimes you've just got to make a statement signing, and I think we're sort of needing one right now, a big statement signing for both those players. So I mean, I trust the manager. Just have to see what he does. If it's right, if it gets over the line, that's all I can really say.
Yeah, I agree. James, these are the two main players that we seem to be heavily linked with. It seems to sort of be everywhere. If we only got one of the two, would you be happy? Or is two out of two, you're fully forgiven of Daniel Levy?
Yeah, maybe not fully forgiving. Like I said, let's not go too far. But yeah, I mean, both would be great, but I think at least one, and obviously I think Eze for me is the one. Just a bit surprised Frank hasn't tried to bring anyone across from Brentford as well. I know we were linked to in Breno before he decided to take the money at Manchester and be greedy, Manchester United, and Wissa as well. But yeah, it's a bit surprising they haven't happened. But in hindsight, maybe not very good fits for Spurs as such. But yeah, I think if we can get these two done, because it just rumbles on, doesn't it? And we got 2 weeks left. I wouldn't be surprised by the time we know it, this week will be over, and we probably still haven't got one of them over the line. So as long as we can, apparently the board are working on it all hours of the day. I don't know what they do at like 3 a.m, but but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, they just need to get it done, and then we can all be happy, can't we?
Yeah,
But,
Aaron, there seems to be consistent links with Eze, with Savinho. We're doing the deal. We're close. We're not close. We're in. We're out. We're all around. Is it getting a bit tiresome for you? Do you just want to get it over the line now and see him with a shirt in his hands?
Definitely want to get it over the line. I think we should be used to it by now. We never do anything quick, and the one time we do decide to do something quick, it fails, and it's the biggest saga transfer mystery of the window. So I'd rather us take it slow and get him over the line than rush into it and then something fails or happens due to not taking enough time to sort everything out properly. So I'm willing to sacrifice and be a bit patient if it means it's definitely going to happen. But at the same time, the general consensus is that it will be a bit tiresome at this point.
And Dylan, just finally on incomings, the famous name that we struggled with on Friday, Hincapi. We struggled massively with that on Friday. I probably murdered it again, so I do apologise. He's obviously, the links are there. There seems to be interest. Not sure financially this one will work out. Reported 60 million. Do you see this something that's happening, or is it more it's Spurs that's just put some rumours out there?
No, I don't. I don't think it's going to be happening. From what I've heard and read earlier, apparently, I think it's by Leverkusen, is that, isn't it?
Yeah.
From what I've heard, they think he's a key player. They want to keep him. Ten Hag wants to keep him, but you never know. Like James was saying, there's only like a couple of weeks left. Anything can happen in the last few days, especially on the deadline day. I'd be quite surprised if it does, but if it does, I think that would be a big boost, 100%, because he is a solid player. We've been linked with him a couple of times over the years, so I would definitely take him at Spurs, but I don't think it would happen this window, at least.
James, if he does come in, where does he start? Because there's been rumours that if we go to the back three, he might work in there. But I did read as well, someone was thinking about that he could potentially move Van der Ven to left back to use Hincapi, which would surprise me quite a lot. Where would you be interested in a £60 million defender like that that's not guaranteed to start, seeing as Romero's just signed a new 4-year contract?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with the back line, I think, at the moment. Obviously, if they can stay clear of injury, I think that's the main concern, isn't it? The fact that Romero and Van der Ven have both sort of had problems that have occurred too often. But, we don't play this high line anymore, like the Postecoglou, Ange ball. We're not playing that anymore. I don't think there's less chance of Van der Ven's hamstring going if he doesn't have to sprint every 2 seconds. That being said, we've got Danso as well. I'm a bit surprised we keep loaning out young defenders like Phillips and stuff, but they do need experience, especially in that position. Is vital to get sort of experience stuff. I think at the moment, I think we're fine as long as the injuries stay away. As simple as that, really. Davies obviously still at the club. Spence just signed a new deal. Horo. I think there's enough there. And then obviously if we got injuries, then maybe January we could have a look at an option like that. But again, £60 million, I mean, it's madness, isn't it? 60 million seems to be the new 30 million. And even when we did that for Sissoko, everyone went mental. But that was 5 million over 5 years, or whatever. So it was actually quite a good deal. But maybe one to look at in January. But it's hard to get deals done in January. It's hard to get deals done at any time for Tottenham, let's face it.
Yeah, definitely. Aaron, just finally with you, Radu Dragusin is reportedly on his way back.
Sorry, I forgot about Dragusin, yeah.
Yeah, he's reportedly on his way back. He's quite close. So this sort of centre-back doesn't really seem a priority to me now. How about you?
Yeah, I'm actually quite confused at how much we've been linked to other centre-backs, and not even just him. I can't think of any name at the top of my head, but it's always been centre back that we're looking for, along with the other positions we mentioned before. That's always been quite confusing to me because we do have good depth at centre half. So especially, I think it'd be very hard to get a player of that guy. I can't pronounce his name. A centre back. If he's not going to want to come to us to sit on the bench if he's starting every game. He's used to it. So I think it's probably very unlikely that happens. If it did, it would be very much down to the wire deadline day, and I'd still be very confused when the deal gets done. Because I don't understand a world in that why that needs to happen.
Do you think the links have probably been there because of Romero? Romero came, sort of come out and was quite critical when Thomas Frank was given the job, not about Thomas Frank, but obviously about Ange leaving, and now the links have been there because he hadn't signed a new contract. The contract's been signed today, and perhaps those sort of links to additional centre backs sort of fade away.
Maybe. I think, yeah. Especially, you mentioned with Romero signing that new contract, definitely those links should calm down. If they don't and they keep going, then I don't know what's happening. But yeah, I wouldn't complain if he came because he's a top quality defender, and I'm not saying he would improve our squad. Having that off the bench would be a powerful thing to have off the bench. But I just don't see a world in which he's happy with that being his role. And I also don't see a world in which we stick to a back five and play 3 centre halves every game. So that's not an option. And the other option he won't like. So I don't see a world in which it happens.
No, absolutely. So just in closing, our next on the next podcast, looking at later on in the week, we'll preview the Man City game. Hopefully, touch every bit of wood that you can find. We won't have any technical difficulties. We do appreciate everybody that's popped back on to see us on YouTube. We'll try and figure out what went wrong and fix that for the next one. But do appreciate everyone joining us. Aaron, just to close, let everybody know where they can find you on social media and follow us.
Yeah, so on X at Tottenham Hotspur FC _AW, so THFC _AW. Just get into a lot of debates and stuff on there about what I think should be happening in a lot of group chats on there now, which is quite fun, better than the main feed group chats these days because can't really navigate the main feed with all this news and trying to distinguish it. But just mess about on X a bit.
No, and Dylan, where can we find you and follow you on social media?
Yeah, I'm mainly found on YouTube at Dillion COYS. You can see my username. I'm also active on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Just post pretty much anything I can Tottenham. Yeah.
Perfect. And James, yourself?
Yeah, I just added it while we've been on tonight at Pastilio on X and Instagram. Also write a little bit in terms of football articles for a website called hooligan-soccer.com.
They're very good, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Across the pond, those guys kindly give me a platform. I actually did a season preview for Spurs recently, and I've got a series of articles on there called Diary of a Scout, which I'm taking a break from now, but there's 10 of them on there if anyone fancies reading my ramblings.
Excellent. Well, you can follow me at Gary R. Ward on Twitter, mainly on Twitter for Tottenham. Instagram's maybe just me, but probably won't want to see that. Obviously, make sure you follow Harry's channels here on YouTube. Give it a like, thumbs up, subscribe. Again, we do really appreciate joining us today. And as always, come on you Spurs.
Cheers, guys. Come on you Spurs.
Thank you. Come on.